Risk everything, your career, your freedom, your family's security, to expose the truth. Now picture walking away with $104 million and the satisfaction of knowing you changed history. By the end of this video, you'll meet the ordinary people who became extraordinary heroes and discover exactly where their courage led them. Welcome back to True Crime Explorers, where we dive deep into the stories that expose corruption and celebrate courage. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss our investigations into the truth tellers who refuse to stay silent. Whistleblowers are the ultimate underdogs. They go up against billion-dollar corporations, powerful government agencies, and institutions that seem untouchable. And sometimes, against all odds, they win. Not just moral victories, we're talking millions of dollars in settlements, historic legal reforms, and vindication that echoes for decades. Today, we're counting down 10 whistleblowers whose cases either broke open or reached resolution in 2025, the year that proved whistleblowing isn't career suicide anymore, it's becoming the most powerful weapon against institutional corruption. From Swiss banking secrets to FBI forensic fraud, these are the people who proved that one voice speaking truth can bring down empires. 10. The healthcare data manipulator exposed. Healthcare wait times aren't just statistics, they're life and death decisions. When you're having chest pain or your child has a high fever, those emergency room wait time predictions determine whether you go to the hospital or wait it out at home. Jesse Yang understood this when he worked as a data analyst for Nova Scotia Health and discovered those predictions were being systematically manipulated. The fraud was elegant in its cruelty. Official data showed 2-hour waits while actual patients languished for 6 or 7 hours. Yang reported the manipulation to his supervisors and faced immediate retaliation. But he persisted, taking his evidence to labor boards and sparking public interest disclosure hearings that exposed the fraud. His courage forced reforms in how emergency wait times are calculated across the province. Today, Yang works as an independent healthcare data consultant, helping other provinces audit their reporting systems. He turned his institutional knowledge into a mission, proving that even small bureaucratic frauds have real consequences for vulnerable people seeking medical care. 9. The Texas Four who took on a state. In 2020, 4 senior aides to Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton discovered alleged abuse of office, corruption tied to real estate donors. They faced an impossible choice: stay quiet and keep their prestigious government careers, or report it and face the consequences. They chose truth and were immediately fired. These experienced government lawyers, Blake Brickman, Ryan Vassar, Mark Penley, and Darren McCarty, documented everything and filed whistleblower complaints. The legal battle stretched for years, but in 2025, a Texas district court judge ordered the state to pay $6.6 million to settle their claims. That settlement sent shockwaves. Even powerful state officials can't retaliate against employees who report suspected corruption in good faith. Today, 3 of the 4 have returned to private legal practice, while 1 works in whistleblower advocacy, helping other government employees navigate the treacherous path between loyalty and legality. 8. The police training fraud fighter. Tamara Evans worked for California's Commission on Peace Officer Standards and Training when she uncovered a scheme that would make any taxpayer furious. Padded invoices for police training classes, half-empty rooms billed as full capacity, non-existent instructors collecting paychecks, systematic fraud siphoning taxpayer money meant to train the officers protecting our communities. When Evans reported it, she was fired and faced vicious retaliation that dragged on for 11 years. But she fought back, ultimately winning an $8.7 million verdict in 2025. Her exposure led to reforms in how California monitors police training expenditures, including independent audits and real-time attendance verification. Today, Evans works as a consultant training government employees on fraud detection and whistleblower protection. Her case is now studied in whistleblower protection seminars as an example of why persistence matters. Justice delayed isn't always justice denied. 7. The Meta Privacy Crusader. In 2025, Sarah Wynne Williams published detailed complaints revealing Meta's alleged willingness to surrender user privacy protections and free speech safeguards for market access in China. Consider what that means. Your data, your conversations, your political views, potentially compromised because of a calculated business decision to access a market of 1.4 billion users. Her disclosures sparked investigations by the Federal Trade Commission and forced uncomfortable conversations about whether tech giants can be trusted when billions of dollars are on the table. The revelations contributed to stalled negotiations between Meta and Chinese authorities, effectively blocking the company's expansion plans. Today, Wynne Williams is a leading voice in tech ethics, speaking at universities and congressional hearings about corporate accountability. She's also writing a book about the hidden trade-offs between user privacy and global market expansion. Her message is clear: your personal data should never be a bargaining chip in international business deals. 6. The Wirecard whistleblower. Pav Gill was working inside Wirecard, a German fintech company supposedly revolutionizing digital payments and valued at $28 billion at its peak. Instead, he discovered it was built on lies, the largest fintech fraud in German history, making Enron look like a practice run. Gill exposed systematic financial fraud, billions in assets that didn't exist, fabricated transactions with phantom partners in Asia, and accounting tricks that fooled regulators for years. When he blew the whistle, he triggered international investigations that caused Wirecard's complete collapse. The CEO fled to Russia, executives faced criminal trials, investors lost everything. The scandal sent shockwaves through European finance, leading to reforms in how fintech companies are regulated and forcing Germany to overhaul its financial oversight agency. Today, Gill works as a forensic accounting consultant, and his case is taught in business schools worldwide as a masterclass in how corporate fraud scales. If you're enjoying these stories of courage against corruption, hit that like button. Don't miss out. Explore our handpicked true crime recommendations. Links in the description. 5. The Facebook Files Leaker. Frances Haugen was a data engineer at Facebook who paid attention to what the company's own research was showing and what leadership was deliberately ignoring. In 2021, she leaked thousands of internal documents revealing platform manipulation, misinformation handling, and policy exceptions for high-profile users that would shock you. The Facebook Files exposed how Facebook knew its algorithms amplified divisive content because outrage drove engagement, even when that content was toxic. Haugen revealed Facebook's research showed Instagram harmed teenage girls' mental health, yet the company prioritized growth over user well-being. Her congressional testimony in 2021 sparked investigations that continued through 2025. Resulting in major lawsuits and regulatory actions across multiple countries. Today, she's a global advocate for tech accountability, working with European Union regulators to develop frameworks that protect users. She's also become a mentor to other tech workers considering blowing the whistle, showing them that speaking up doesn't have to mean professional exile. Her message to potential whistleblowers: document everything, find good lawyers, and remember you're fighting for something bigger than your career. 4. The FBI lab reformer. Dr. Frederick Whitehurst was a forensic scientist at the FBI crime lab where evidence analysis helped convict or exonerate people in criminal cases nationwide. But he discovered something terrifying. The science wasn't always scientific, and people's lives hung in the balance. In the 1990s, Whitehurst blew the whistle on scientific fraud and misconduct, exaggerated testimony, improper forensic techniques, and analysis that didn't meet basic scientific standards. This wasn't abstract. Faulty forensics sent innocent people to prison and let guilty people walk free. His revelations led to major reforms after 1997, including new quality controls, mandatory peer review processes, and strict standards for forensic testimony. But here's where the "where are they now" gets inspiring. Today, Whitehurst founded the Forensic Justice Project, continuing to advocate for scientific integrity in criminal investigations. He's helped exonerate dozens of wrongfully convicted people and trains defense attorneys on challenging questionable forensic evidence. He turned his whistleblowing experience into a lifelong mission to ensure forensic science actually serves justice. 3. The Army Contract Fraud Exposer. Dr. Tony Savage worked at the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers Huntsville Center, where she witnessed massive contracting fraud, systematic abuse of government contracts worth hundreds of millions of taxpayer dollars. Contractors were manipulating bids, overcharging the government, and creating shell companies to circumvent oversight. This was your tax money being stolen at an industrial scale. Savage's disclosures in the early 2000s contributed to whistleblower protection laws like Sarbanes-Oxley and Dodd-Frank, strengthening protections and establishing serious penalties for retaliation. These laws created clearer channels for reporting fraud and financial incentives for coming forward. While her whistleblowing ended her career with the Army Corps, she transformed that loss into advocacy. Today, Savage runs workshops training potential government whistleblowers on documenting fraud and protecting themselves legally. She's helped dozens of federal employees navigate the whistleblowing process, turning her painful experience into a roadmap for others. Her legacy isn't just the laws she helped create, it's every government employee who now knows they have legal protection when they expose corruption. 2. The Halliburton Contract Challenger. Bunatine Bunny Greenhouse was the top contracting official for the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers during Iraq War reconstruction. With 20 years of contracting experience, she witnessed something that shocked even her: a $7 billion no-bid contract to Halliburton, the most blatant contract fraud she'd seen in her entire career. The no-bid contract meant Halliburton faced no competition, no oversight on pricing, and no accountability for cost overruns. This was Iraq reconstruction money, funds meant to rebuild a war-torn country, being handed to a politically connected company with zero competitive process. When Greenhouse demanded proper bidding procedures, she was demoted and pushed aside, her career destroyed as a warning to others. But her courage led to major reforms in government contract bidding processes, including stricter competitive requirements and enhanced oversight of wartime contracts. She eventually settled her wrongful demotion case. Today, Greenhouse is a sought-after speaker on government ethics and procurement integrity, teaching the next generation of government contracting officers that following the rules matters more than political pressure. She proved that sometimes losing your position means gaining your voice and your legacy. 1. The 104 million Swiss bank whistleblower. Bradley Birkenfeld worked for UBS, one of Switzerland's most prestigious banks. He had access to secrets the wealthiest Americans desperately wanted hidden, and that the US government desperately wanted to know. What he discovered would earn him the largest whistleblower reward in history, $104 million. But the path to that reward was anything but straightforward. Birkenfeld blew the whistle on secret Swiss bank accounts hiding US taxpayers' money from the IRS. This was systematic tax evasion involving thousands of wealthy Americans sheltering billions offshore. Swiss banking secrecy laws had made these accounts virtually untouchable, creating a system where the ultra-rich could opt out of paying their fair share while ordinary Americans paid every penny they owed. Here's where Birkenfeld's story gets complex and fascinating. Before becoming a whistleblower, he actively participated in the tax evasion schemes he later exposed. When he came forward, US authorities prosecuted him for his role in the fraud. He served 31 months in federal prison, paying his debt for helping wealthy clients evade taxes. But here's the remarkable part. While serving his sentence, his whistleblower disclosures were triggering investigations that collected over $5 billion from tax evaders and fundamentally changed Swiss banking secrecy laws. Switzerland was forced to cooperate with international tax authorities, with ripple effects worldwide. After his release, the IRS awarded Birkenfeld $104 million under the whistleblower program, a reward calculated as a percentage of the money recovered because of his information. The message was clear. Whistleblower programs work by incentivizing insiders to come forward with information governments could never obtain otherwise, even if those insiders aren't completely innocent themselves. Today, Birkenfeld is a wealthy advocate for whistleblower rights and international tax transparency. He speaks at conferences, consults with other potential whistleblowers, and argues that his case proved the system can balance accountability with incentives. His story is complicated, controversial, and ultimately hopeful. Even people who participated in wrongdoing can choose to expose the larger system, pay their price, and emerge as agents of reform. From Texas to Switzerland, from FBI labs to Facebook servers, these 10 people proved courage isn't about being fearless. It's about being afraid and speaking up anyway. Together, they've recovered billions of dollars, reformed institutions, protected vulnerable people from fraud, and reminded us that power without accountability is just tyranny with better PR. Which whistleblower's story shocked you most? Let me know in the comments below. And if you want to see more stories about people who expose corruption and fight for justice, check out our video on corporate scandals that changed history. Find it right here on screen. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss our deep dives into the truth.